What is up, people? Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another preview here on the Cup Chasers. That's right, the Arsenal are hosting Everton at the Emirates Stadium. We've already got my man Lumen in the building. Big up to you as well. Thank you so much for being here every single time. Of course, people, this is a massive game. This is going to be a tough one. Of course, we got to keep the pace in the Premier League, got to keep the pressure on Manchester City. Of course, we're playing right before them, so it's a massive opportunity to go 10 points clear and really put that pressure on. And so we're going to break it all down here before the day before. Go ahead and go through some of the permutations, who might start, who might be on the bench, who's fit, who's not, what we're going to see, all of that and more, etc. Of course, so go ahead and smash up the likes on your way in. Grab something to drink, get settled in. We're going to go through this. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. It would be an honor and a pleasure to welcome you into the community, of course. And I want to know what you're thinking in the comments section down below. What's your score predictions, thoughts, comments, concerns, criticisms, admonitions, all that good shit. Let me know down in the comments section below. All right. The Everton, the Toffees, David Moyes. Surprisingly, when I started to do the research for this one, I found that Everton have the fourth best away record in the league. And that is not what we want to hear as we go into this one. Of course, we know it's going to be low block city. We know it's going to be long throw-ins. We know they're going to try to dunk on us. The free kicks, just like we saw versus Manchester United, I expect that their approach will be a carbon copy of that. But I do think that this game actually suits us, suits our style, as long as we can pick up the performances, because it's been a wee bit lackluster of late. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down to the fact that some of the the opposition has been favorable, of course, versus the likes of Mansfield Town, and so we kind of didn't exactly, really go for it. I think the approach versus Leverkusen was kind of similar. It was kind of a game management. Let's get through this one unscathed and get it back home so that we have the advantage in the home leg. That was a very interesting one, and I think that our lackluster performance was based on the approach. Was based on the fact that right out the rip in the Leverkusen game, they played through our press a couple of times pretty well. And normally when that happens, I'll reference the Liverpool game at the Emirates Stadium. We back off a little bit. And I believe that is what happened in that one. And so I think that we have to really bring the urgency and bring the pressure in this one. I think the pressure is back on. I don't think this is necessarily going to be the same kind of, lackluster. What's up, Kieran? Comes in with a full English breakfast. There you go. There you go. That's the way you do it. But yeah, I think that the mentality, the focus, and the urgency will be back, because this is the league. This is not some random opponent. This ain't Mansfield. This ain't Portsmouth. That ain't Wigan. This is a very good team, a very strong defensive team with the likes of Michael Keane and Tarkowski, of course. This, at the time of this recording, I haven't seen any of the pre-match pressers, so I'm not too sure about the injury. Maybe Branthwaite might be available to play. He might be on the bench. But I do expect Kieran Dewsbury-Hall to play, as he is on the thumbnail. He's been one of their best players over the last few games. He certainly was in the last game that I actually got to watch for Everton. And so he will certainly be one to look out for on that left-hand side. Of course, I expect Timber. It might be Ben White just based on rotation, but I do expect Timber to be in there. So they're going to have either Ben or Timber a strong eye on Dewsbury-Hall. But I do expect a typical David Moyes performance, a sit back and counter, try to win corners, try to win throw-ins, things that the Arsenal have been accused of late. And so for the neutral, I bet a lot of people are coming into this one thinking this is going to be a stink fest. This is going to be a boring slog. And Everton are definitely going to try to make it that way. We can fully expect that to be what Everton go for, their game plan. And I need us to full press. I need to get ahead early. I need to really, really make Jordan Pickford work in this one. For me, he's one of the best goalies in the league, obviously going to be the England #1. And so we're going to have a tough test, of course, getting some shots on goal, getting some balls in the net past my man Pickford. So we need to put the pressure on him. We need to make him work. I think that this game will suit us based on the fact that Everton, while they can play through the lines and they can play some good progressive passing football, I don't necessarily expect them to be expansive in this one. I don't expect them to really, really, I mean, they might press us high against the ball, maybe, but I expect more of a mid block to low block. I expect them to be hitting long balls, trying to find Barry. Barry's been pretty good recently, so I expect that. And that's going to suit us. I think it'll suit our style, the things we like to do, and it'll be bread and butter again. High press, make Pickford hit it long, make Keane hit it long, make Tarkowski hit it long, win the second ball. And that is the play. That, I think, for me, is going to be a big issue in this one. The battle in that midfield is going to be tough. It's going to be pretty definitely going to be a strong midfield from them. It's definitely going to be a tough battle in there. That's where this game will be won and lost, because if they get us running back towards our goal, if they're winning all the second balls, with the likes of Njai, McNeil, Beto, Barry up top as well. I think Jack Grealish might be on the bench at least. So we're definitely going to have to make sure we are good in the transitions. Garner and Idrissa Gana Gueye are going to be the players that Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi have to absolutely have an eye on. It looks like in their last lineup versus Burnley, they played Dewsbury Hall in the middle. So that's going to be very, very interesting battle in there. Of course, Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi, some might say they're flagging a bit. They're looking a little bit tired. They're going to have to be huge in this one. Going to have to absolutely be huge in this one. Lumen says Everton strikers should target Saliba. I mean, Beto, normally the defenders, a lot of the times this season, strikers have been going for Gabriel, actually, instead of Saliba. And so maybe from an Everton point of view, they should target Saliba, but homie's an absolute monster, William Saliba. That's why I got him on the thumbnail finally for the first time this season. He's a Rolls Royce, man. I think that if Beto or Barry does target Saliba, they're going to have a really, really difficult time of it in this one. But we shall see. Of course, I think that, Saliba's had Saliba struggled against the Leverkusen striker. Yeah, credit Kofane. Big up to the young kid. He was strong. He put his body around. He worked hard. And maybe Saliba wasn't expecting that. Saliba wasn't expecting, such a strong work. But if you look at some of the strikers that have played against us in these kinds of games, especially in the 3-5-2 system, look at the way Marcus Thuram was doing well against Mosquera, but also it was just a good battle. We locked Marcus Thuram down. I thought that, as far as keeping Kofana at arm's length, keeping him from really doing too much damage, I think we did well. Obviously, they scored on a corner. It wasn't, and their open play approach was not great in the final third. And Kofana is not the starter. Patrick Schick is the starter, and so he's the was the backup. Came in. I thought he did well. But I also thought we defended well against him, kind of nullified them to not much and some not so amazing chances. That didn't really come off. And it was kind of the same in the Brighton game. We weren't amazing, but we kept them at bay. And I think that was kind of similar in the last couple of games that we've played. I need this one to be way different. I need this game to be way different than that. I do think that whoever it is, Barry or Beto, they are going to jostle and grapple and battle with our back line. And that's going to be a very, very important battle because we need to win the knockdowns. Beto is very good, probably in my opinion, a bit better than Barry at being the target man, at throwing his weight around. So I think it's going to be a very important battle, and we got to win the knockdowns when he attempts them. What's up, Dixie Star? Thanks for being here. Mathematically, we can only afford to lose once if they were to win all of their matches. That's right. That's the way the math works out. If we lose one, and then they beat us at the Etihad, it'll be a 1-point gap. They'll be right on our ass. So I think honestly, I think it's more likely that they are going to struggle at West Ham after we'll call it a lackluster performance at the Bernabeu. But yeah, I'm not saying that Everton are going to be easy. We absolutely have to lock in because we can't, like Dixie says, if we only lose one time for the rest of the season, or how about not at all for the rest of the season, I think we'll be just fine. Just fine. For me, I want to at least have a 4-point gap going to the Etihad. That's what I've said all season long. I said that is the game that I think could possibly decide the league. And so there's a lot of permutations, of course, and there's 2 games to play before the Carabao, or there's like 5 games to play before we play Man City. Only 2 in the league, though, and this one here versus Everton is so massively important. For a long time, we had Everton's number at the Emirates Stadium. I remember opening day 6-1 a few seasons back, but they've been a tough outfit of late. David Moyes has definitely got them more compact, playing the defensive style a lot better. And so we're definitely going to have to be on it. And like I said, like I've said in a number of these previews, I think when we press as a team, combined with winning all the second balls, we're unplayable. But the difference is that we haven't seen, I'll say, in the last few games is that we've let teams have joy in the midfield battle. We've let teams have joy, as Lumen was saying, with their front man, their target man, getting knockdowns and winning balls and giving us trouble, making us a little bit hustled and harried, as you might say. Some of the clearances that we do when we get a little bit nervy instead of putting it down and playing around, we can't let that creep into the game. We definitely want to get on top of this one really quickly. And as we know, if we score early, like if we come out and punch them in the mouth right out the rip, they'll have to come out. They'll have to come out and play. They'll have to press higher, and they will leave more space. And that's kind of been the idea behind practicing the corners and getting really, really good at set pieces, is because of teams that they don't give any space, make it really, really difficult. And so to gain that space, we have to score first. We just got to score early. That's kind of been the blueprint, the template for things that we've seen. And we've kind of struggled to impose ourselves upon games early. And so I think that is very, very important in this one, to get us going, to get the space, to make them come out and give us that space is going to be very, very important. And I think if we do that, I think we'll get a lot of joy in this game. And I think we should be able to get the job done. Now, it really depends on, again, health as far as our starting lineup, as far as, who we're going to see from the start in this one. Kai Havertz has gotten couple of games since he's come back, so maybe he's a little bit he's healthy. We might see him start in this one. So that's a possibility. I don't want to see him up top though. And if he does start, I would rather see Eze on the left. Now, personally, I would rather have Eze in the 10 and Havertz come on later on in the match. Because I just don't think that Arteta is going to play Eze out on the left. I just don't see it happening. So I expect Eze in the 10, Gyökeres to start. The issue with that is that Martinelli and Trossard wasn't even on the bench versus Leverkusen. And that is one thing that infuriated me. And I called it like 10 minutes into that game after Martinelli was already having a stinker. I was like, he's not coming off. There is nobody. There isn't. Arteta doesn't trust Madueke to play left. He doesn't trust Saka to play left. He doesn't trust Jesus to play left. He's not going to push Havertz out there on the left. Like, in that game, because Trossard wasn't on the bench, it was very clear that Arteta only thinks that Trossard or Martinelli can play out on the left-hand side, because we have not seen Eze on the left like I want, like many Arsenal fans have called for. We haven't seen that since Matty Cash got in behind Eze and scored when we lost to Villa. And that's been quite a while now. So I don't expect to see Eze on the left. And that means I don't want Havertz to start, because we need Eze to be in the middle of the park for me. Obviously, I don't think Odegaard's healthy, so I don't think he'll be he might not even be there on the bench at all. But yeah, I need Eze to start, and I need Victor Gyökeres to start as well, even though he was poor against Leverkusen. So yeah, that means for me, it's Gyökeres and Saka and Eze, of course, Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and then the left winger position, man. I mean, where's Max Dowman at? Like, I'm not liking either of our choices. Trossard has not been great. His form has dropped off completely, and Martinelli is ass, man. He's been ass for God since the last Champions League game. Like since who did we play at the last game of the season? I don't remember. But since the group stages of the Champions League, Martinelli is just leapt off a cliff, man. He has not been good. And so our left side of the field, like, we got to figure something out, man. We absolutely have to figure something out. Either Trossard or Martinelli need to get their head out of their ass and get going again, or yeah, I don't know, because Arteta doesn't trust anyone over there. So I honestly expect that, especially if Trossard is injured, if Trossard's not, I mean, he wasn't on the bench. Hopefully that's because he will be available. I personally would start Trossard as the lesser of two evils in this situation, just based on the fact that Martinelli has just been awful. I mean, he was awful against Mansfield Town. Homie, Mansfield Town. Awful. You know, so it's like, it's kind of like, what do you do? What do you do? So if Trossard is healthy, I'm starting Trossard in this one. But the main thing about it is the fact that we don't take on our man enough. In that 5-back system from Leverkusen, they were leaving Saka and leaving Martinelli 1v1 with Grimaldo and Poku, respectively. They were leaving them 1v1, and we refused to take them on. And so if Everton, if they dare leave O'Brien and Mikolenko 1v1 on Saka or whoever's on the left, take them on. Take your man on. Drive the byline. Saka is most dangerous when he's beating his man, getting past his man, going to the line, driving the near post and cutting it back, or beating his man, cutting into the left and having a rip. Like, beat your man. I need Saka to step up huge. I know there's been a lot of noise about maybe he was injured after the stinker he put up versus Leverkusen. I think that's just excuses. You know, guys have off days. Even professionals, even star boys have off days, you know. And so I think that Saka definitely had an off day. I mean, I guess it was right that he came off. I don't think it was right that he came off and Nelly stayed on the pitch. That's my biggest beef with Arteta from last game. I understand it. I understand where his head is, but I would have pulled Nelly, switched Saka to the left, and had Madueke, or even put Madueke on the left. You know, the result would have been the same. He loves to take on his man. He loves to get to the byline and then scare the corner flag with the shot. So the result would have been the same if you put Madueke on straight swap for Nelly, in my opinion. But light bulb, maybe that's the answer. Light bulb, maybe that's the answer. Maybe, just maybe, Madueke gets the start. Because when he's come on, his finishing hasn't been incredible, but he's producing. Saved us a draw in Germany. Scored versus Bayern, you know, he came on and looked good. And he looked good versus Mansfield. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that is the answer to the fact that Trossard and Martinelli have been ass. Let Madueke play left winger. Yeah, that I'm advocating. I'm advocating for it. I don't even like Madueke that much. As far as, I mean, I don't mind him as a player or whatever, but I don't think he's awesome. If Arteta drops Saka, will he react positively or not? I think Saka would react positively. I would be shocked if he's dropped, though. I think that would be a horrendous decision to drop Saka. I really have an issue with Arteta dropping our captain, with him pulling our captain an hour into the game. Like, Arteta, it's weird. I don't think Arteta necessarily values the captaincy as much as, I don't think he puts a whole lot of emphasis on the captaincy, especially if you look at the fact that our, you know, leadership group or whatever, you know, Gabriel sometimes has the band when Saka goes off. You know, Declan Rice is a big leader. Raya's a big leader. You know, we have leaders in the team. The problem for me is the person wearing the armband is supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the one when we're down 1-0 in a Champions League round of 16 knockout match, away from home, up against it, not playing well. He's supposed to be the guy that pulls us through, drags us through. And I think Saka might be feeling the weight of the armband a little bit. And I think in his mind, the armband might have that weight. But Arteta maybe doesn't think that way. Lumen says 80% of your fan base wants Saka drop for Madueke. That's because 80% of my fan base are reactionary, scared, don't think things through. They don't look at the entire big picture, and they're taking 3 poor games from Saka and 3 okay games from Madueke and saying that Madueke is now better than Saka. It's laughable, in my opinion. Just go and look at a compilation of Madueke's attempts and crosses, his attempted shots, and tell me how many of them damn near terrified the fucking corner flag. The corner flag, man. His finishing, his end product for Madueke is absolutely horrible. And yeah, I might look like a doofus for saying that because of, he's producing. And if Madueke had not have won that penalty, if he had not have won that penalty, I would have been scathing. I would have been incensed. That the fact that Madueke won that penalty is the literal only reason I didn't crash it on Arteta. It's the only reason I didn't crash it on Arteta's head top, because he got it way wrong versus Leverkusen. Mostly the approach and the mentality, in my opinion. But dropping Saka for Madueke is absolute insanity. It's ridiculous, ludicrous nonsense. If Arteta does that, I'll be very disappointed. I'll be very sad. But if Madueke comes in on the left, because Nelly and Trossard have been way worse than Saka, like so much worse than Saka. This idea that Saka needs to be dropped because he hasn't been at his best is really ignoring the fact that no one on the left-hand side has even come close. They're not even close to what Saka means to this team, to what Saka we know he can produce. Saka is the guy. I believe he is. And I think sometimes, especially when he's wearing the armband, he puts that on himself and maybe tries to do a little bit too much. Maybe there is a little bit of that. But I definitely do think that dropping Saka would be a horrendous decision. A horrendous decision. Because I still look to him. I still look to Bukayo Saka to be the guy, to be the man that's going to pull us through. That's going to step up when we need something big. I think he feels that. I think he feels the weight of the armband. And so maybe that is contributing to some of his poorer performances. I will say, though, at the end, nearing the end of the game in Leverkusen, they did start doubling up. But that was because we started to take on our man. That has to be the directive. Let him cook, man. Let Saka cook. Mikalenko is a decent defender. He is. But Saka can absolutely burn him, can absolutely put him on toast, send him to the shop, whatever you want to call it. What's up, Charles? Thanks for being here, man. Subbing Saka shows enough authority by Arteta. Dropping Saka calls not needed. Yeah, I don't think he should be dropped. Subbing him also, I think, was a poor move. We're not worried about Arteta's authority. Arsenal isn't player power FC. We're not worried about that kind of thing. You know, Arteta doesn't give a shit what I think. He doesn't give a shit what you think. He doesn't give a shit what Pep thinks. He doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks. He's going to do his thing. He's going to continue to play the way we're playing. Like I said on Fire Them Cannons, make sure you're subscribed over there with Anton on Fire Them Cannons. When I appeared on that channel the other day, it's like I said then, you know, we have no obligation to play the way anyone wants us to. Hertzler wants us to open up and make it easier for them to score against us. We have no obligation to do that. So Arteta has no obligation to do anything for anyone. His authority is well and truly intact, in my opinion. I don't think that, you know, he can't drop Saka because Saka is the guy or whatever. I think it's a bad idea tactically, mentally, philosophically. That's where I think it's a bad idea. I think that, you know, Madueke is not anywhere near the player that Bukayo Saka is. And I'm not trying to pick on Madueke, but one thing I will say about him is he legitimately always has a chip on his shoulder. Always. So if he comes in and the first couple of things he tries are not really coming off, he gets petulant. You can see it in his body language where he's like, oh man, I'm frustrated today. And that's when the really poor end product comes out. The scare in the corner flag, the missing penalties after diving. Like I really like Madueke is not on the level with Saka. And so dropping him in a run-in is ludicrous in my mind. You know, so I definitely think Saka needs, yeah, I mean, he's the guy, he's the man. And I think he will. Step up. I think there's plenty of games. We got 18 games to go should we make it every single final. So there's ample opportunity for him to step up and show that he is indeed the man. And I think he'll do that. I think given the opportunity versus Everton, I think that especially if they leave him one-on-one, if they don't, and they do double up with Garner or perhaps Njai, we can combine. We just need to play so much quicker. We just got to play quicker and don't let them get set. That was the issue versus Leverkusen. We played so slowly that they were able to get set into their defensive shape. And if we let Everton get set into their defensive shape, it could be a long day, man. It could be really tough to break through this one. And it might be exactly what we needed the last time we played Everton at their ground, where it was so tough and we needed, Victor to get it over the line with a 1-0 win. It might be something similar to that. The longer it goes and we don't get the goal, the more nervy we're going to get, the deeper their block is going to get, the less space there's going to be. And so at times in this one, segues are weird. Since I brought up Victor Gyökeres, we'll speak on him. Because at times you've seen, because Victor is in the team and he has been improving with his build-up play, I think that we need him to be big in this one as well. Charles says, I'm scared about the fatigue running through our spines for Zubi and Declan. Yeah, there's always going to be fatigue when we're playing this many games, when we're, the guys haven't had a rest since freaking COVID or whatever. It's just game after game after game after game. There's definitely going to be fatigue, and yeah, it's a little bit worrisome, but I think that Arteta is starting to realize that. We've seen Christian Norgard subbed in more often in the last 3-4 weeks than he has all season long. And so while I don't want to see him start, I still want Zubi and Rice to start. An earlier sub for one of them might be in order. I definitely trust Christian Norgard to, handle his business and, keep the levels high when he comes on the field. And so if we see him at some point, if we see him earlier than we're used to in the Everton game, it won't surprise me one bit, because that is where this game is going to be won and lost. And it's very possible that we might have one eye on the return leg of the Champions League, which I really, really don't want to see that. I want to see a full send, balls to the wall. This game, an awareness, an acknowledgement that the Everton game actually is more important, or as important as the return leg at home in the Champions League on Wednesday. This week of games, these next 3 games are so unbelievably massive. So big in the context of the season. Obviously, we have to go through in a Champions League. That goes without saying why that one's huge. This one is so big given the context of what's going on in the league right now, what's going on in the Champions League right now. Manchester City, our main rivals for this league, are in a torrid run of fixtures. It's a horrendous run of fixtures. And so we have to take advantage. We have to handle our business. This game versus Everton is so big. It's so massive. The gap keeps staying the same while the number of games gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So go out there, press them to death, suffocate the life out of them, and get some early goals, win the midfield duels, win the midfield battle, and we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Now, I do think that at times, because Gyökeres has been playing better, has been holding the ball up better, doing the number 9 target man role a lot better, we have been hitting balls longer at times. And if Everton do at any point decide to press high, we'll probably be doing the same thing. And I need Gyökeres to step up again and have another performance where he's holding the ball up. A lot of the times when the ball's up there, I'll be going, win it, win the first one. And a lot of times Victor will be able to not just win the ball, but he'll control it or get a little touch on to whoever running through. We definitely saw in the, was it Mansfield? No, it was the game before. Victor and Eze really can get a good partnership going. We've seen some of the comfortability between them when Eze gets close to Gyökeres. When we hit the ball long, especially since Eze is not a huge fan. He doesn't come back to pick up the ball as much as, say, Odegaard would. He needs to get close to Victor when we're hitting the ball long, so he can win the knockdown. He can win that second ball. It's going to be very, very important. Of course, he's going to have Gahey or Garner draped on his back the whole time. And so his positioning and his movement and, his reading of the game in those moments is going to be very, very important. And I need to see the vertical passing from Eze. When we do win that knockdown, when we do have the ball in an advanced position and Everton are not set yet in their defensive structure, we absolutely have to go for it. Quick transitions, 1-2 touch stuff. No more of this. Martinelli was infuriating. So many times versus Leverkusen, he would get the ball, maybe dribble towards his man a little bit, maybe jockey down the line a little bit, but then he would dribble into the center, do some circles, and and then have the guy on his back, and then eventually play it off to somebody else. When we get in those situations, you got to go for it. You absolutely, when you have space, take on your man, beat your man, and get a ball across. It's very simple. But I mean, I don't know if Martinelli, that just needs to be the directive. So much quicker in transition. When we win the ball high and they're not set, that's when there's space. Everyone talking about, we don't play well in open play. We don't create enough chances in open play or whatever. Our best chances come when we're playing with a rapidity that pins them back when they're not already set. That's when the space is there. That's when we create our opportunities. We absolutely have to keep doing that and finish them. We got to finish those chances. Charles says, I think Leverkusen played with an eye on Everton, or we did when we were there, because both Everton and Leverkusen are home fixtures back to back. Many times games are not one by one for managers. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. As far as the mentality that we approached Leverkusen with, it's 100% was a handbrake on. Let's manage this tie. Let's get home without losing. I think, honestly, despite all of the noise, I think Mikel Arteta is happy with that performance. I think the boys went out there and did exactly what Arteta told them to do versus Leverkusen. It's like I said on Fire Them Cannons. I don't have to like it. I didn't like that approach, that mentality very much. But that's why Arteta gets paid the loot, and I'm here on a podcast. You know what I mean? I in the back of my mind, as much as I didn't, enjoy the performance, I didn't think that, that was our best performance. I think Arteta was fine with it. Totally fine with it. We didn't, tire ourselves out running back and forth for 90 straight minutes. That's been the mentality all season. He's been making sure we have energy for this run-in. But for me, he's running a fine line, right? Because at some point we got to full send it. At some point, it's just no more saving for the next game, no more saving for the run-in. No more, we have to send it. It's this close. It's this close. And the way the fixtures, the way the results have worked out, not only in Champions League, but also in the Cups, our main opponent is faltering, staggering, stumbling. We have to put them out of their misery, out of ours too. Where's Martin? At least come on the ground, let alone play yourself to form. At this time, fellow Arteta protecting Odegaard. I have no idea. I actually don't know what's going on with Martin Odegaard. The official statement from the club is he's redone his knee. That same injury he picked up versus Brentford in the 1-1 versus Brentford, when he had just come back and then they banged his knee or whatever. And then he was out for 3 games, and then he came back for a couple of games, and then he's out again. I honestly, in my mind, Odegaard's on the back burner right now. He's not in the team because he's hurt, is what the club has said. I don't know why Arteta would be protecting him. he's a club captain. You know, he's I don't know why Arteta would be protecting him from anything. You know, you are the guy. You're the captain. You know that that armband, that being the club captain comes with, you know, a certain amount of you know, of weight, as I said earlier. And Arteta knows the weight of it too, because he was the club captain for a while. Even when he wasn't the starter, Arteta was the club captain for a while. Even when it was, you know, Ozil, Ramsey, Song, Arteta was still the club captain. You know, even when we were playing with, you know, when he wasn't the guy in the midfield, when Rambo was the main guy, Arteta was the club captain. So he knows the weight. He knows what that armband means. And so it'd be weird because, you know, the captain needs to come out and face it and face the music, face the noise. And so I would be shocked to learn that Odegaard is simply just being protected by Arteta. Dixie says, I agree. We really, really need that kind of performance again where we won 5-1, 4-0. We got to go all out. We need that kind of scoreline. Absolutely. Absolutely. If we devastate Everton, not only think about what that will do for our morale going forward, but like I said, Man City, think about it like this. Think about it like this. Bernardo come out after Man City beat Liverpool. And he wasn't saying, oh man, we're going to go get it. We're after him now. We're absolutely going to go on and smash him. We're absolutely going to go on and smash the league. That was not what Bernardo said. It was relief. It was relief in that press conference. He said that he was so happy they won the game because collectively they thought if they had lost that game and gone behind 9 points, the league was done. And that was a month ago. So if we smash Everton 5-0, say, 4-0, say, whatever, even if it's 3-0, if we just absolutely blank Everton, literally right before City play, our game is simultaneous with the Chelsea game, but right after it, City are at the bubbles. So if we go 10 clear right before they play, I imagine Pep will not want that to get into the dressing room, but it will. It will, 100%. And so not only will that, what will that do to our morale to absolutely smash them, like Dixie says, but what's it going to do to Man City? Knowing that they're 10 points back and they have to smash everybody. There's zero room for error. So for me, if they drop points right after we go 10 clear and City get the draw and we are 9 clear, a month ago, Bernardo said that was it. A month ago, City would have conceded the league in their mind. And so if that happens now, with 6 games to go, it would be. It's done. It's already done. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. What's up, Silent Violence Forever? Thanks for being here. Big up the host in the chat. Respect from TNT. Thanks for the subscription. Thanks for being here all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Awesome. Yeah, I actually had a chance to go there when I was younger. To go with, I don't know if any of you in here know who Ralph Lundy is over in the States. He was a coach down in Charleston. I had a chance to go to TNT with them. But it was the trip was too expensive back in my playing days. I had a chance to go and learn the national team. It didn't work out, but that would have been really, really cool. Big up Trinidad and Tobago every single time. Charles says Kvaratskhelia to Arsenal would break the internet. Let's go ahead and throw up, Charles. Let's throw up a little prayer to the football gods right here, right now. Gods of football, please do this. Please do this. I want to break the internet. I love the strong rumors. Please bring Kvaratskhelia to me. I would absolutely love that. We have to have somebody in the summer on the left wing, of course, but I don't like to focus necessarily on that until we do get there. Lumen says it's called silent mind games, giving you confidence before the games. Absolutely will do. Confidence for sure should we go on and destroy Everton, I think it would really, really start to wear at Man City's. Even if Man City beat West Ham and we beat Everton, it's one less game, and the pressure is still there. The pressure is still there in the back of their minds because time is running out. Time is absolutely running out, and everyone's assuming, oh, if we lose and City win, they're only it's only a 1-game swing. That's assuming that they beat Palace in their game in hand. And yeah, we didn't win our game in hand, but we do have that extra point on the board. And it's given us the statistical, permutations of win everything, win out, etc. I'm sure we've all been doing that nonstop, of course. But yeah, I think that even if both of us win, the mentality of now they have to go and they have to absolutely smash Madrid, like they have to full send 100%, like everything they got, just to maybe scrape through and stay alive versus Madrid. I don't see it happening. But after that, it's the final. It's the Carabao Cup final. They're on their last leg. They're on their last leg. I'm going to assume that they beat West Ham just because that's the more likely scenario. And I'm gonna say that we step up and we do well. 3-0 versus Everton, maybe 3-1. We have not necessarily been defending the corner kicks too well recently. City and Arsenal will drop points before the end of the season. Probably. It's a very, very strong likelihood given the run-in, given the importance of Champions League, given Arsenal are competing on all fronts. Yeah, it's very possible that we will both drop points before the end of the season. But if they go, even if they don't go out of the Champions League, even if they somehow do a madness, they're going to be so dead tired going into that Carabao Cup final. And so I think this is the week. This is the week that we can put them down for good. Imagine we go 9 clear. I'll give them a draw versus Everton, West Ham. Imagine we go 9 clear, another hit to the morale. And then they go out of the Champions League, another hit to the morale. And then we beat them in the final. Oh, man, it's done. Their mentality will be on the floor. The mentality monsters who have already saying, we'll give up the goose if we didn't beat Liverpool. Their mentality would be on the floor if we knocked them out if we won the Carabao Cup final. They're out of the Champions League, and then their next game is Liverpool at home after what is going to prove to be a crazy international break. Because some teams still have to make the cup. Some teams are still trying to get into the Copa. So not everybody's going to get like this rest on the international break. And they have to come right back and play Liverpool. I think they're there for the taking. It's there. This week is so massive. We could definitely put them down. We got a Fulham fan in the house. Big up user BC, whatever all that says. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Big up to yourself. And this here is another question, Charles, that I'm not sure. At the time of this recording, I haven't listened to any of the pressers, any of the pre-match stuff. I am not sure if Trossard is going to be in this one or not. And honestly, I've called for him not to be in the lineup anyway. Personally, I would rather Madueke start on the left. It's not going to happen. If Trossard is okay, though, if Trossard is definitely healthy, I want him to start over Martinelli. Martinelli was ass in the last 2 games. Ryan, support Fulham because of Clint Dempsey. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for Fulham, even though they would technically be my London rival. Not only for the fact that Brian McBride played there for forever, one of USA's really good forwards when I was younger. Clint Dempsey, of course, played there as well. So, Brad Friedel was there for a while at one point, I think. Fulham, maybe. So their attachment, their willingness to give Americans a go is definitely giving them a soft spot, Fulham. And you've got half the Hale End boys. You've got half the the old Arsenal team, the COVID Arsenal team, Emmy Smith-Rowe, Alex Iwobi, Berlino, and I was a fan. I was a fan of Iwobi. He never had the finishing ability at the Arsenal that was necessary for Wenger and beyond. But I love Smith-Rowe. Emmy Smith-Rowe was one of my favorite players, and his knee injury was horrific, man. The fact that he's doing well at Fulham, it warms my heart, of course. Ryan says he definitely hopes that did you switch accounts? Says that he hopes Arsenal win the league. Hey man, me too. Absolutely, me too as well. But yeah, I definitely think that this week is so massive, and we have to start it off with a huge win versus Everton. Yeah, I would love a 4-0, but you know what else I would love? I would love a 4-3. I would love a 1-0. Just give me the 3 points, man. As far as importance, I know the Champions League is huge, and it's the next game, and I know that the next game is our first chance at a trophy in 6 years. I know it's big, but so too is this Everton match. We got, I definitely want, he says he changed his handle there, yeah. I definitely want to compete on all fronts. I do. I really do. I want to win as many trophies as possible, of course. But for me, everything else fades away when we're playing in the league. It's priority. It's paramount. It is the highest thing that we need to be going for. The Champions League, that'd be dreamland. That would be incredible. Of course it would be. But I haven't won this league in 23 years. Give me the league, man. So I need us to go balls to the wall, full press, battle in that midfield versus Everton and win this game. Charles says, interesting question. Why do you think Declan has been so ineffective offensively in a few months? It's because Zubi can't do the hard yards and he has to sit back. I think that there is a part of that. There is a bit of he's definitely got an eye on having to cover and making sure his defensive duties are done. He's obviously our best transitional defender. So when we're running with backs to goal, he has the recovery pace. He's kind of obviously our best tackler in the team. And maybe there is a little bit of this in his head where he's realizes that Zubi can't necessarily make up the ground. And also we tend to focus on our right-hand side. And I think Martinelli's poor form, Trossard's poor form can contribute to the fact that Declan being on the left-hand side of the midfield not necessarily been as contributive to the attack based on the fact that the attackers over there are not doing their best either. Ryan says we win the domestic treble. I think we do. I think we have a great shot at beating City in their current, where they're currently at in form, mentally, philosophically, etc. I think we have a great chance against that high line. And so I think we can definitely go on and win the domestic treble. It won't be easy. It won't be easy. And I know it's going to do people's heads in if we get Leeds or West Ham in a semifinal. I'm just going to laugh. I don't expect us to. I mean, how can we continue to get such crazy luck in the draws? I didn't expect us to get Southampton. I definitely expected Anfield or the Etihad in the next round of the FA Cup. So, there's no way the draw. We're definitely playing Chelsea in the semifinal. Definitely. I'm already marked it down. There's no way. And so, yeah, but it's there to be had. It's absolutely there to be had. Ryan says Champions League will take some work. Performances need to improve. Yes, you're right. The performance at home does need to improve, but I know it will. Just based on what I know about Arteta, what we know about his game management philosophy and his kind of, tactical, keep him in front of you approach, I think we'll full send it on Wednesday. I think these next 2 games, we need to full send it versus Everton, but I definitely think we're going to full send on Wednesday and go balls to the wall, a lot higher of a press, a lot more intensity. And I want to see 2 back-to-back. I want to see the same game. Full press, in your face, make them make mistakes, punish them ruthlessly. We need that in versus Everton, and we need that versus Leverkusen. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, Leo Messi. Doesn't matter. When put under pressure, you're never perfect. When put under endless pressure. You're never perfect. And Mikolenko, O'Brien, Gahey, Garner, Tarkowski, Michael Keane, these guys aren't, they're not Ronaldo. They're not Messi. Put them under pressure, win the game. That's what I think. That's what I think needs to happen. Am I happy with Bukayo Saka? I'm not unhappy with Bukayo Saka. He hasn't been amazing in his last few games, but I think that he's still our best player. I think he's still the guy we look to in the moments when we need somebody to step up, which is why it was weird that Arteta took him off. Obviously, I'm not the manager, and so, that decision ended up working out. But as far as like what me being happy or unhappy with him should mean, nothing. He should start. Definitely be the starter in the next game. Definitely needs to be leading us forward. And, so no, I'm not necessarily happy with the recent performances from B, but I think that he's still got it. He's still going to be the guy going forward. And I think he's got more to show us in this run-in. And I really hope that he steps up and does it against Everton. From the 11th of January to the 11th of March, we've played 17 matches, and 11 of those were away games. Yeah, that's definitely a contributing factor. If you look at our last 3 games, we were all away. Away to Brighton, absolutely tough place to play. And we weren't bad there because we were bad. We stopped. It was the mentality. It's the approach. I think a lot of people in our fan base and a lot of people online in general, a lot of pundits and then people who are analyzing our team are leaving out the fact of how we're approaching games. They're leaving out the fact of Arteta's philosophy and our mentality. They're just not really taking that into account. We didn't try to put 5 past Brighton. We didn't try to put 5 past Leverkusen. We wanted to stay in the game. We wanted to keep Leverkusen in front of us. We got an early lead versus Brighton. I don't think we expected that, and we really dropped off and just said, you know what, you're not going to score. You're just not going to score. And while that's nervy and makes my hair turn gray, I mean, hey, got it over the line, and so we really have to take into account the way Arteta is approaching these matches with the handbrake on, and I think that needs to change very soon. But I understand it. I definitely understand it. The constant travels will disrupt training schedule and take its toll on player recovery. Charles, you're absolutely right. But did you know that we have 3 away games left? If you don't count Wembley, and 5 away games. If you don't count Wembley or Budapest as away games, supposing we go all the way through, we only have 5 away games left. One of those probably being the North Pole, supposing we beat Leverkusen. So that's not going to be fun, and it's going to be a long way to travel, of course, as Charles says, but it's Everton at home, it's Bournemouth at home, Newcastle at home. We only have to go to the Etihad and to the London Stadium. The rest of our Premier League games are at home. So, we've done the away legs. We've done the tough away games. And again, that's part of the fixture, fortune that we've gotten so far this season, and I'm happy about that. I think that being at home and, Wembley is our backyard. Like that's like a home match. It's like an away match for City. They have to travel to London. We got to travel across town. And we have a great record at Wembley, so that's not necessarily an away day. Now, traveling to Hungary would be a hell of an away day. Traveling to North Pole, of course, is an away day. The Camp Nou is going to suck, supposing that they beat Newcastle, so, well, and Atletico Madrid, of course, so traveling to Spain, either way, if we have to go to Spain, will suck. But, yeah, I think that it's time to release the handbrake. I think that it's time to really, really press teams high. Really, really press teams high. Yeah, Wembley's not too far. Wembley is not too far from us, that's for sure. Arun! What's up, brother? Glad you're here, buddy. Yes, 2-0 to the Arsenal would be absolutely glorious. I'll take that. I'll bite your hand off that for that right now. Absolutely would. So, yeah, I definitely think that we're going to win it. I want to win it. I think that maybe our defensive stability is not what it once was, but, excuse me, I think that we're going to win this one. Probably 3-1. 3-1 is my score prediction. Go ahead and get your score predictions down in the comments below. Big up the chat. Big up everyone that's been here. I absolutely appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and smash up those likes. That has been no corner goals, Arun says. Yeah, we're going to see a corner goal in the Everton game. I'm predicting it right now. There's going to be corners. Going to be a lot. The corner bet's on. Make sure you gamble responsibly, people, but the corner bet is on. There will be more than 10 corners in this game. You can take that to the bank. And someone's going to score on a corner. Hopefully it's us, Arun. Hopefully it is us. Yeah, so that's been the preview. Come on, you Gunners. Of course, go ahead and smash up those likes on your way out. I certainly appreciate you being here. And everyone, it will be an honor, a pleasure if you are new, a privilege even for you to join this community. It's definitely growing. We're on our way to 500 subs, so make sure you're locked in and subscribed if you're new. I really do appreciate that. Smash up that notification bell as well. Of course, there is plenty more content coming down the line. We're going to have watch-alongs this weekend. And, of course, the Cup Chasers podcast every Wednesday. Make sure you are locked in. I do appreciate everyone being here. Big up the chat. Come on, you Gunners, and you. We'll see you next time.